또 다른 뉴욕타임즈 또 다른 기사입니다. 오늘 읽을 게 많네. 제목이 Don't flee the U.S. Southwest just yet. The era of shrinking water resources and rising temperature is a question of how we adapt, not whether we survive. Last summer, when the temperature hit 110 degrees Fahrenheit or above in Phoenix for 31 straight days, many were fretting about the U.S. Southwest's prospects in the age of climate change. A writer for The Atlantic asked, when will the Southwest become unlivable? The Washington Post wondered, how long can we keep living in hot boxes like the Phoenix? The foregone conclusion seemed to be that the region was heading for a crash, destined to become an overpopulated, unlivable dead zone plagued by ranch foreclosures, unemployment, water wars, and heated deaths. As a writer who has studied the Southwest's history and spoken to some of its top environmental experts this year, I see its future differently, not as a hellscape, but as an opportunity for centuries of climate ingenuity and the adaptation to be put to good use. For generations, the people who are determined to come here have found ways to cope and even thrive. And as the water crisis grows more dire, the federal and the state governments are likely to have to pay up for the more farmers to have enough water left over to sustain the Southwest cities. There's no way you can have 400 farmers in the Imperial Valley taking all the water away from Phoenix and the LA Basin. According to Brad Udall, a climate research scientist at Colorado State University, as water resources managers like to say, the Southwest cities could disappear tomorrow and there would still be a water shortage. Thanks to the thirsty farms and the huge and hungry cows, one way or another, desert agriculture must shrink and adapt to what remains. But there's a reason for hope. Take Arizona, a state that's often seen as the epicenter of the crisis because of its steep population growth and the fact that many of the same Arizona countries attracting new residents at a record pace are also the most water-starved, experiencing severe drought far out of proportion to the rest of the country. In spite of this, many environmental experts in Arizona are relatively sanguine about its future because of all the progress it's made over the last 50 years to conserve its water supply. The historic adaptability of the Southwest can be applied in multiple other ways. Cities can reduce the heat island effect by planting more street-cut trees and even small forests that capture carbon. They can mandate the reflective coatings on roofs and asphalt, encourage low-flow showers and toilets, and discourage residential lawns. As Las Vegas has done, top joining code on the county level can stem the runaway growth of what firefighters call suicide subdivision built on the edge of drying forest, vulnerable to wildfire. I think the Southwest will retain its essential characteristic as a top frontier. Those who want to enjoy it will adapt accordingly, just as they did in previous centuries. 어. Don't flee the U.S. Southwest just yet. The era of shrinking water resources and rising temperatures is a question of how we adapt, not whether we survived. 기후변화가 그 미국의 지역에 어떻게 끝이고 그거를 어떻게 앞으로 타개할 것인가 그에 관한 기사입니다.